Okay, 7th grade. So plan for today, we're going to go over a quick warm-up with complex and imaginary numbers, go over the quadratic formula that you had for homework last night, and then I need to show you the harder ones where you need to simplify with the radical. We'll probably do 2 or 3 of those, and I'm going to show you 1 or 2 with the imaginary numbers in them. Okay? So let's start with our warm-up here. On the first one, when you simplified, what did you get? You know, pink folder. Brian B. Good job, 0. Number 2, the negative square root of negative 63. Completely simplified, Eric. What is it? Awesome. Number 3, that was a FOIL problem. Completely simplified, Nathan. Good job. 14i minus 3. You may also have negative 3 plus 14i. Either way is fine. The order does not matter. All right, I to the 0, Madison, is I to the 0. Good, 1. Eric, I to the first. Good. Luke B, I squared. I squared. So I is equal to the square root of negative 1. Square both of them. It's not 1, not negative I. You said 1, and then you said negative I. You said 1, but yes, negative 1 is true. All right, I cubed. Let's see, Maddie. Good, negative I. The pattern keeps going, so if we found I to the 4th, what would it be? Luke B. Good. I to the 4th is 1, I to the 5th is I, etc. So that same pattern keeps repeating. If you know the first 4, you know all of them. Okay, any questions on the warm-up? Okay, let's go over homework answers. And that was in your packet, page 12. Okay, number 1, Anna, what'd you get? Awesome. Number 2, Gigi, what'd you get? That's okay. Page 12. Are you on number 2? Okay, nope, not 4. Are you sure you're reading your writing correctly? What was the other one? Okay, no, you're off a little bit on that. Andy? Nope. So the negative one's right. Maybe this one was harder. Marissa? Awesome. Negative 10 comments here. I'll go over that one if you guys need me to. Okay, number 3 was one of those problems that I didn't teach you, but you should have been able to at least try it. So, Luke B, you want to try to tell us? Negative 1 plus square root of 5, right? Okay. And what's the other one? Negative 1 minus square root of 5, comma 0. Okay, if you did not get this, don't worry. We're going to do this today. So number 3, some of you, and I want everyone to look at your paper for number 3. You should have at least been able to have gotten to negative 2 plus or minus square root of 20 all over 2. So you should have at least been able to get to that. At that step, you need to change square root of 20 to be square root of 4 times square root of 5. That's when it gets hard. So let me show you that. When you change to that step, so negative 2 plus or minus, I'm changing square root of 20 to square root of 4, square root of 5, all over 2. Square root of 4 is 2. So we have negative 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 5 all over 2. What do you think we do at this step to get to these answers? What do you think we do to go from here to here? And I didn't really tell you this yet, but from last year and this year, you should be able to figure it out. Nathan, what do you think? Yeah. So this becomes negative 1, and this becomes positive 1. Brian B, do you see that? And then this splits up into these 2 answers. We're going to do that today. Luke B? You can, but I want you to keep the answer exact, because in Algebra 2, you'll keep it exact. Geometry, you'll keep it exact. So I'm doing that because of your future math classes. When you're graphing, it's easier to change it to a decimal because then you know where it goes if you're graphing by hand. But when you're just keeping it the answer, keep it exact. That's a good question. No, we're not graphing these. We did that in the beginning of the year. And to be consistent, I should have just done this then, but I didn't think that you guys would be this fast in this book. I didn't get this far last year with the 7th graders. So now we're going to do chapter 12 next, and I have not gotten to chapter 12 yet. So don't get big heads, but that's a good thing. It'll really help you for algebra 2. All right. Okay, any questions on homework? Positive? Okay, without looking, who can tell us what the quadratic formula is? And if you'd like to sing, that'd be great. Well? Aw, man, does anyone want to sing? Oh, yeah, you couldn't hear. All right, well, just tell us. You don't have to sing.
Negative b plus or minus square root of negative b squared plus minus 4ac.
Okay. Do you guys all want to sing?
No.
No? All right, we're going to sing, okay? You don't remember? Well, okay, here's the problem. If I play it from there, it's going to mess up the recording. That was what happened yesterday. So let's just try to sing it without it. It goes to Pop Goes the Weasel. You guys remember the Pop Goes the Weasel song? Okay, ready? X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Good job. See? Trust me, I cannot sing, and we did it. We talked through it, right, and had a little melody. Well, I was thinking that. We could do that. Ours would be so much better than the ones we saw. Did you see the video? You just couldn't hear it. That's weird. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, we'll think about that. But Pop Goes the Weasel. Here's our quadratic formula. Geometry next year, you will sing that, learn that again. But you guys should remember it. Okay, everyone's good? Okay, let's go to same packet, flip back to page 2. And I want to take a look at letter C. So flip back to page 2. I want to start with letter C. All right. Okay, so we're going to go through 2 of these, and I'd like to show you, I think, one with imaginary numbers. You guys, once you know the formula, there's not much else I can help you with. You just have to practice. Okay, so we're going to use the quadratic formula for this problem. If we try to factor this, I promise on this one, there's nothing you can find that multiplies to negative 10, but at the same time adds to 6. So we need to use the quadratic formula. So ready? X equals the opposite of b, which in this case is negative 6, plus or minus square root 6 squared, which is b squared, that's a 6, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a, which is 2 times 1. So just make sure you plug everything in correctly. From here, we're just simplifying. So negative 6 plus or minus 6 squared is 36. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 10 is positive 40. Be careful. Don't forget about those 2 negatives back to back. Makes a plus. All over 2 times 1 is 2. Next step, add what's inside the radical. So negative 6 plus or minus square root of 76 all over 2. If I go too fast, please tell me. What can we change 76 to? So something times something is 76, but one of them is a perfect square. We only have Eric that knows this. Good job, Kyle. Okay, Kyle and Eric. Who else? Oh, sorry, I knew it. Yell at me like that. Brianna, who else? So what times what is 76? One of them is a perfect square. You guys are good at mental math. Kyle, what do you think? Good. So negative 6 plus or minus square root of 4, square root of 19, all over 2. Eric, you had the same thing, right? You were going to say 4, 19? Okay. Okay, so next step. After you simplify it, take the square root. So we have negative 6 plus or minus square root of 4 is 2. Rewrite your square root of 19, and it's still all over 2. This one's a little tricky. So we need to simplify negative 6 over 2 and 2 over 2. So what will the next step look like? Eric, what do you think? Good. Does everyone understand how he got to that? Okay, now what? Francie, now what? Ordered pairs. Okay, what would one of them be? Good. So split them up into two ordered pairs. So, Gigi, you with me? Okay. -3 plus square root of 19, comma 0. The other one's -3 minus square root of 19, comma 0. So just make sure you split them up and then write them as ordered pairs. So just like yesterday, but more simplifying. You guys okay with that? You're just plugging and chugging. All you're doing is plugging numbers in and then simplifying. Are we okay? Okay, let's flip over and take a look at none of these are really that hard. I was going to try to pick a hard one. Okay, let's do letter D together, and then I'll have you guys try one. Yeah, try letter D together. Okay, so x squared plus 8x plus 2. If we tried to factor this by AC grouping, there's nothing that multiplies to 2 and at the same time adds to 8. So you have to use the quadratic formula to find the x-intercepts of the parabola. Luke, you with us? Letter D. Okay, so we have x equals opposite of b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Raise your hand if you think you know the formula without looking. Oh, good job. That's most of you. Okay. All right, so after you plug all the numbers in, let's simplify. X equals -8 plus or minus 8 squared is 64. -4 times 1 times 2 is -8, all over 2a, which is 2. So subtract 64 minus 8, so we have -8 plus or minus square root of 56, all over 2. Okay, someone besides Kyle and Eric who can tell us, sorry Eric, what can we change 56 to? So something times something is 56, but one of them is a perfect square. Okay. Anna, what do you think? Good job. 4 and 14. So -8 plus or minus square root of 4, square root of 14, all over 2. Next step, simplify square root of 4. So -8 plus or minus 2, square root of 14, all over 2. Okay, Brianna, what does the next step look like? Good job. -4 plus or minus 1 square root of 14. Andy, at this point, what do we do next? Good job. So separate them. So we have two ordered pairs. Eric, what are they? And don't forget about the comma 0. Okay. Now, do you really need that 1 in front? No, because it's just 1 times square root of 14. Nathan? Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Sorry. Plus, not minus. Yeah, that was supposed to be a minus, but didn't turn out so well. Thank you, guys. Okay. Questions on that? All right. Just on that type, give me a thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. Because if you're okay, we're going to move to the next type. Okay. Flip over. Well, you have more homework time. Flip over to letter J on page 4. Letter J. I'm just thinking for a second. Hold on. No, I was going to ask you to do that, but we don't. Okay, letter J. Sorry, Will. There was one problem that was very different, and I don't know where I put it. It must be in the homework tonight. That's okay. All right, letter J. So the title of this lesson, which is still a continuation of the quadratic formula, is, okay, let's now solve it, but there's going to be an imaginary number. So that means your x-intercepts of your parabola they're not going to exist because they're imaginary. Your parabola is going to be way up in the air somewhere. It's not going to cross the x-axis at any point. The y-axis it will cross. So same process, the only thing that's going to change is there's going to be an I in the answer. So that's why I taught you imaginary numbers before this. Okay, ready? X equals opposite of b. So that means it's 1 because b is -1. Luke, where are you going? Okay. Plus or minus square root b squared. So -1 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So you can already tell that you're going to end up with a negative in the radical. Hopefully, at least you can tell. So we have x equals 1 plus or minus square root. -1 squared is 1. Now here's the tricky part. -4 times 4 is -16. -16 times 2 is -32. So that stays as a minus. If you mess up on one little sign, the entire formula is going to be wrong. So we have 1 minus 32 all over 2 times 4 is 8. Yeah, and it's going to be imaginary. Correct. Yep. So our next step, let's subtract. So we have 1 plus or minus square root of -31 all over 8. So it's imaginary. How can we simplify, or what is the simplified form of square root of -31? Luke B? There is. You can't have a negative inside a square root. Good job. Yep. So 1 plus or minus I times the square root of 31. I skipped a step. The step that if I was just teaching this to you now would be square root of -1 times square root of 31. Square root of -1 is always I. You guys with me? So is there anything we can simplify? No. So all you do at this point is split them up into 2 separate ordered pairs. So it's kind of a messy answer, but these are your answers. So 1 plus I square root of 31 all over 8, comma 0. And the second one is 1 minus I square root of 31 all over 8, comma 0. Eric. Yep. Did you have the I? You had I over 8, you said? No, that's perfect. Yeah, if you split them up, even though you don't have to simplify, you're fine. You're able to do that. Any questions on that? Okay, I want you to try letter K on your own, and if it goes well, we're going to go to homework next. Because if you know the formula, you can do any of these. So letter K on your own, completely simplified. I'm going to come around and check your ordered pairs, and if need be, yes, I will go through it all, and then we'll start homework. Yes, Luke? Yeah. Well, it's because you didn't write it down. -4 times A. So -4 times -3 times -10 is what you should be doing. Yeah, I would write it all out until you get really, really good. Remember, this one's going to be an imaginary number, so if you don't get an I in there, you might have multiplied something wrong. Yep. 4 minus 120 is -116. Careful. So far. Just make sure you simplify 116 because there's a perfect square that goes into that. Okay. Whenever you guys get to the part where you have -116, there is a perfect square that goes into that. So make sure that you simplify. Did you mess up? Is that 2 squared? Yeah, now you should be good. Mm-hmm. 2 over 6 is 1/3. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Simplify when you guys get to the end. Yes, yes. When you guys get to the end of this one, there's should be something like 2 over 6, so simplify. You can simplify this further. Plus it should be, okay, no, you're good the way you did. Just make sure you simplify it a little further. I wouldn't mark it wrong, but just 1 over. Okay, be careful because these are both negatives, but this is a positive. So you either need to leave the signs like they are or separate them to be like -2 over -6, 2 over -6. Because this becomes a positive, but this one is still negative. So, you know what I mean? I would just leave them like they were so that you don't get messed up with it. -1 plus or minus I. Yes. There's a perfect square that goes into this. Remember I said that? You can simplify. 4 goes into that. Plus you need your I. Okay. Okay, much better. I'll be right over. That can work. Just be careful with all these negatives and just hold on to that thought because I'm going to go over that. Be careful with the negatives on this one, guys. Yep, you just got to keep simplifying. Okay, so let me at least show you this. So before you simplify, you guys should have -2 plus or minus square root, plus or minus 2i square root of 29 all over -6. Did everyone get to that part? If not, I'll go backwards. Nathan, did you get to that part? You did or did not get -6? 2a, don't forget, the bottom of the formula is all over 2a. 2 times -3 is -6. All right, so now be careful here because there's 2 negatives here, but there's a positive and a negative here. So what I would do is split them up and simplify and then write your ordered pairs because this is 1/3, but this one's -1/3. So here's what I would do. I would do 1/3 plus or minus negative or 1 over -3, however you want to write it, I square root of 29. So when you go to simplify something, if the signs are different or when you're simplifying, if they end up being different, I would split them up like that and then separate them and write your 2 ordered pairs. Now, do you have to do that? No, but you end up, I don't want you to make a silly mistake because you simplify wrong. So when you split them up, you should have 1/3 plus -1/3 I, of course I know this is confusing, square root of 29, comma 0, whoops. And then the other one is going to be 1/3 minus -1/3 I square root of 29. So when you have those 2 negatives back to back, you can just change it to a positive. So 1/3 plus 1/3 I square root of 29, comma 0. This one could really just be minus. And if you already had that, you're fine. Brian B., were you going to ask me that? Yeah. So that could be a minus and that could be a plus. If you can do that in your head without splitting them up, that's fine with me. Just be careful with those negatives. That was the hard part. There's another problem kind of like this on the homework. Just be careful if you need to split them up. Gigi? Right, but there's an I next to this and a square root of 29. So this whole term here is not 1/3. It's 1/3 I square root of 29. But you're correct. Okay, you guys okay? All right, I want you to do, okay, let me find it. The back of page 12, so where you were yesterday. So back of page 12, I want you to do all of those. And page 14. Guys, you're going to have a lot of homework in geometry next year, so I don't think you should complain this year. I want you to do, what'd you say? Yeah. 3 and 4. Okay, so you only have 6 problems. You guys have 10 minutes. Okay? 6 problems is not a lot of homework, Gigi. Just because there's a lot of proofs, there's a lot of theorems to learn, postulates, so Trust me, algebra is not that bad. There's a lot of stuff to learn next year, so don't complain. Okay, I'm going to walk around. If you finish one, let me know. I'll come over and check. Alina? Yeah, I'm going to get it. So let me know. I will leave my answer key up here in case I'm helping someone and you need it. But the first 4 on page 12 are not imaginary numbers. The page 14, 3, and 4, those ones are imaginary numbers. Maddie? Is he? Oh, yeah, you're fine so far. You just, the last 10 minutes you need to be fine. And then, yes, you can leave Maddie. I think in about a week or so, I'll just have you guys pick your own seats as long as you all behave. Yeah, did I let you do that last year? I thought so. As long as you cooperate. Okay. Remind me if I forget next week.